'cause your stare won't ever let me go. I'm here only 'cause I'm aware with you is better than all alone. Oh, 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 say what you're dying to say. No, oh, oh, tonight we're stars but we'll fade away. Go on, light me up, oh, go on, light me up while we're golden. Come on, light me up, oh, come on, light me up before we come down. Stars will always come down, so before we come down, down, down. Go on, light me up, oh, go on, light me up while we're golden. Come on, light me up, oh, come on, light me up before we come down.
Hello everybody and welcome into the Asphalt Outlaws Racing Xfinity Series. Live here tonight from the Tricky Triangle Pocono Raceway. Gonna lay host to some great side-by-side action in the Xfinity cars here tonight. And as always, thank you all so much for tuning in. You are watching Austin Green on PGR eSports. And so before we get into anything, let's get right down trackside and get things going with tonight's starting grid. And I'll tell you what, qualifying here is a tricky thing to do, but the pole sitter here tonight is going to be Eric Hegdahl in the 11 machine. Puts down a pretty good lap at a 53.954. Starting on his outside here tonight, it's going to be Clinton Woodby in the number 92 machine. Charles Van Schaik to his outside in third. Michael Newman back in fourth with Haas Beverly in fifth. And it's going to be Mark Beverly to his outside in sixth. Dylan Paz alongside Evan Schilling back in row four with Kevin Winker ninth. And it's going to be Roger Strickland rounding out the top 10. Jesse Wise, he'll start back on the inside of row number 6 with Jesse Calloway in the number 4 to his outside in 12th. Lance Thompson rolls off 13th. Colin Bollinger, last week's winner, he will start in 14th. Bill Hales 15th. Colton Hardy for Loose Lugnuts back in 16th with his teammate David Traylor in 17th. Rick LePage, the Canadian driver in the field, he will start in 18th, and it'll be Keith Prince rounding out the field. He will start in 19th. Taking a look at your race info. It's the Winning Bid 200 here for the Asphalt Outlaws Racing Xfinity Series. And again, as always in the Xfinity cars, we'll go 80 laps around this 2.5-mile triangular-shaped racetrack. Stage break going to be at lap 20, 95% fuel. These drivers do have 4 sets of tires, 1 fast repair as always with fixed setups enabled, and then 3 green line checkers if we were to need them in Pocono. We're going to be taking a couple onboard views because this is one unique track. You see it right there laid out on the track map. But again, 2.5 miles in total length, pretty much the same as what we see at Daytona International Speedway, but drives a whole lot different. Drafting important on these long straightaways. The front stretch, the longest straightaway of any track we go to on the season. You're going to see speeds probably close to approaching 200 miles an hour. Track temp 77 degrees, cool enough to where these tires should hold a little bit of grip a little bit longer than they normally would. But again, very, very tricky with these cars. Low downforce, high horsepower. And so it's going to be kind of a tough fight, especially early on, as everybody kind of tries to find their groove, find what line works best. But we continue to get closer and closer to the playoffs, and that means that some guys are going to have to start to get a little bit desperate. We're getting ready to find out who wants to get the job done here tonight at the Tricky Triangle. Here we go. Green flag is in the air. We are underway at Pocono. Good restart from the front 2 cars. Eric Hegdahl hoping that he can lead everybody down towards turn number 1. Clinton Woodby right now stuck on the outside. And the first turn here, one that you can go side by side through, but I think we're going to see the advantage for the most part tonight. At least I would assume be on the bottom. However, with that cooler track temp, things could get interesting. Looks like so far, everybody gets through there nice and clean. Now they're going to work their way down the first back straightaway down to the tunnel turn. Very narrow setup here. Tough to go 2x2, and you're not going to be able to maintain much momentum if you do so. The 11 of Eric Hegdahl, though, he wants to keep this lead. He tries to make the outside work. The 23 is Charles Van Schaik, able to pull even with him. And again, a lot of give and take early, but I'm telling you, if this was late in the race, you would not see those guys run as smoothly as they just did. Side by side through the tunnel turn. And then lastly, of course, turn number 3 right there. A very, very flat portion of the racetrack and kind of a big sweeping turn. And whoever can get the throttle down the quickest is going to have all the momentum down this long straightaway, as we have now officially completed one lap. There you see the speed for Eric Hegdahl approaching about 190 miles an hour before they get down towards turn number 1, where again, heavy off the throttle. Maybe some drivers even on the brakes. I don't think we're going to see any shifting here tonight, but of course we'll get a better insight on it once we look at some of the different onboard views. As you see Dylan Paws here trying to make a move on the inside of Evan Schilling in the 18. Kevin Winker going to try to follow him through. They'll both look to the inside through the tunnel turn, but Dylan Paws right there just didn't feel confident enough, at least not yet in the race, to try to make that move stick. So he'll drop his number 10 Toyota Supra right back in line behind the 18 of Evan Schilling up front. The battle for the lead still very tight, very fierce. Eric Hegdahl right now on the outside looking for another run. Van Schaik, though, whoa. Man, Van Schaik with a huge slide job right there. That could have ended really, really bad. These guys getting maybe a little bit more after it than I would have expected them to this early on. But, man, that was a really, really close call. As Eric Hegdahl now to the inside here of Van Schaik. He'll take another dive here. See if he can get back clear into one, and he does. Oh, Van Schaik gets loose. Big save out of 23, but he's going to get up into the marbles and into the wall. Charles Van Schaik with what looked to be either some contact or more likely potentially a little bit of netcode contact, and he is dropping like a rock here down the backstretch. He's going to try to straighten this car back out and get some momentum going, but man, that hiccup and that contact cost him just about every single position available in this field here tonight. He is now falling back to 17th. The only car behind him at the moment is Rick LePage, as Keith Prince not being scored on the racetrack. Man, that was a very, very interesting look coming through turn 1 right there for Van Schaik. And so we're going to back this up kind of the manual way, if you will, and go back and take a look. And I think here what happens for Van Schaik's, I think there was a little bit of netcode. That's almost what it looked like here right as they're coming through the turn, because watch this car. It's just going to jump completely sideways on him. Now, he does have a car to his inside. That's Haas Beverly in the 22, but I don't think Haas ever touches him. Watch it from the chopper view. You see Van Schaik up top here. Van Schaik trying to get some arc to bring it back down towards the bottom of the racetrack. Beverly slides up a little, but at least at that point, there wasn't any contact. Now, I will say that, you know, if they both kind of stay in the lines that they were trending in, I think there may have been contact at some point. But at the time that that 23 car jumped sideways, there was not contact. It's going to be a little bit of a netcode touch right here. And watch it make this 23, the rear end, just jump right there. Immediately starts to snap out from under him. He saves it. I don't know how. It was a very, very tough track and a tough corner to save it, and gets up into the outside wall, but does again hold it together. That's some significant right front damage, though, there for Van Schaik. We'll see if he brings that in for repairs. He tries to just stay out and manage it. Looks like he's going to go with the latter of the two for now, as he currently has picked up a spot again here now in front of Lance Thompson and sitting in the 16th position. The battle for the lead still on. Haas Beverly right now with what has looked like one of his best short-run cars of the season so far here at Pocono, as he is trying to fight Eric Hegdahl for the lead. And here comes Michael Newman. He wants a piece of the action as well. We'll see which lane he decides to stick with here. For now, it's been the bottom. That's where he just worked with Eric Hegdahl down the last straight. Maybe not enough to make much gain right here, but if they stay like this here to work onto the front stretch, this may come down to who has the drafting help. At the moment, you would think that it would be that inside, but let's see if Clinton Woodby can maybe set up another run here off turn number 3. Woodby does get a pretty big run right there. It's going to be enough to get up to Eric Hegdahl, who actually had to fall back and slot in line just behind the 22 of Haas Beverly. So with Beverly now the leader, you wonder how does this shake up the momentum and kind of the pace of this race. We're only 6 laps in. We know we have that one stage break on lap 20, but if you use your tires up too much here before we even get halfway through this first stage, boy, you could be really, really struggling on the back end of things. And Eric Hegdahl, he's not done fighting for this lead. He must feel that clean air here is really, really important, because he is getting aggressive for it right now. As they look back to the inside here of Haas Beverly, there's the 92 of Woodby just behind him, who went with him there, gave him a little bit of a push. Those two, of course, are teammates, both White Knuckle Racing drivers. And for Haas Beverly, one of the Asphalt Outlaw Racing drivers, he would like to see some help of his own here. He may get it, because the 55 of Mark Beverly up here running strong. He's going to try to get to the outside, but Eric Hegdahl with authority is going to take that lead back from the 22 of Haas Beverly. Clinton Woodby now going to look for a bit of a side draft here down the front stretch. Is it enough to get to the inside? It looks like it is, and I'll tell you what, as wide as that front stretch is, we're going to see it if we get a couple more restarts after that stage break. Oh, we have one car go off here for a minute. Doesn't look like we did. I saw some debris flying around in the bottom of the camera there. I think everybody's okay. Speaking of 3 wide, though, here we go. Kevin Winker looking to the inside of Michael Newman. This isn't going to work. Somebody's going to have to give right here, getting into the tunnel. Who's it going to be? Oh, man, just as I say that, Mark Beverly able to creep out ahead, so they get back to 2x2. But again, that is something that you cannot do. 2 wide already really, really challenging through that tunnel turn. 3 wide, you might as well forget about it. And they did not indeed try to make it happen that time. Realized it wasn't going to work. For Kevin Winker and Michael Newman, they both pick up a spot. And now Kevin Winker going to try to side draft on the inside down the front stretch. Eric Hegdahl, by the way, trying to create a little bit of a lead here now with 8 of 80 laps in the books. Eric Hegdahl right now sits just about 0.4 of a second ahead of second place Mark Beverly. Excuse me, Haas Beverly. Mark Beverly, though, creeping up now to what could be that third position here momentarily. And that number 55 Ford Mustang would be still to his inside. Michael Newman and Kevin Winker. Now they'll get back to being side by side. You see the field behind them starting to separate a little bit, but not as much as I kind of was expecting to see here, especially early on in this race. I know that the draft is the great equalizer, but man, I just think you got to feel like with, you know, how low downforce and how high horsepower these cars are at a track like Pocono, they'd separate pretty quickly. It'd be a matter of who could work their tires the best and who got that clean air, but that has not been the case. I mean, even Eric Hegdahl, who it looked like for a minute there maybe was trying to do that, they're only about 0.3 of a second back, so you can't give up on Haas Beverly yet, who's trying to go chase that 11 car right back down. 9 laps complete. We are now just 1 lap away from being halfway through the first stage here at Pocono. It looks like the 92 of Clinton Woodby going to work right back down to the bottom of the racetrack. The 42 of Kevin Winker kind of working that middle line. And turn 1 and 2, I say 1 and 2, mostly just turn 1 has really been the turn that we've seen guys trying a lot of different lanes. Turn 3, we've seen a couple guys trying to work the high side there as well. And of course, the tunnel turn kind of has been a one line's the fastest type of setup, but we have seen a little bit of 2x2 action, proving that if nothing else, it is at least possible. But as we continue to talk here and watch, let's go back a little bit further in the field here and ride on board with Colton Hardy. This is, again, one of the drivers for Loose Lug Nuts. You can see just how smooth of a line he's running here through turn 3. And actually, just from the onboard shot right there as he worked through 3, it almost sounds like his car may be fighting more on the tight side than it necessarily is on the loose side, which I don't know if that's what I would again have expected necessarily here in these Xfinity cars, but it certainly seems to be the case right now here. So for Colton Hardy, who, by the way, has picked up 9 positions from where he started this race at, maybe just waiting for a caution, and he may have a very, very good shot at it. By the way, Colton Hardy, the driver out of Petersburg, West Virginia, is carrying an onboard view for us here tonight, and recent announcement was made that while the Asphalt Outlaws Racing Xfinity Series will not continue anymore next year, and as a matter of fact, Asphalt Outlaws Racing in general will not be continuing as a league any further. Going to be taken over and slightly rebranded by a couple of the drivers that run it, one of them being Colton Hardy, and the other 2 that I know of at the moment being, of course, David Traylor and Joe Yakes. So a couple of teammates that are looking to hopefully keep the same drivers, keep the same action. For Mark Beverly, series owner, who's put on a bunch of great racing over the course of multiple seasons, just kind of gassed out a little bit from being the owner side of things. You know, he still wants to race, but just wants to take a break from the running part of the thing. So he'll take a break, hand it over to some of these guys who, you know, are going to do an excellent job of keeping the field competitive. Going to have to do some recruiting on the off season, but excited to see where we can go. How about the attendance here tonight? Back to almost a 20-car field. And strong attendance as, again, the playoffs slowly but surely starting to close in. We'll talk about what races remain in the regular season as we get further on. And how about Colin Bollinger? I mentioned him at the tip of the broadcast when we were going through the grid. Your race winner last week. Excuse me, not last week, but rather the week before. Of course, these guys took Christmas off. But the point I'm trying to make here for Colin is a driver that just started really a few weeks ago. Did not take him long to make the right adjustments and figure out how to find speed and find it consistent. To get a win here against these guys is really, really tough. To do it in just your second or third race is even tougher. So tip of the hat there again to Colin Bollinger. Right now sits in the 10th spot and is currently up 4 positions from where he started this race. A lot of pushing and shoving right there. Just a couple spots back. Looked like that might have been Jesse Wise. He was getting all he could handle right there. I was trying to figure out who was pushing, but it might have been Jesse Calloway. I think, as a matter of fact, it was. And the other driver back here right now that maybe a little bit surprising to some is David Traylor. 54 right now, struggling to find a little bit of speed at the moment, but we've seen him do this before, so if you're a David Traylor fan, I'd say don't get too worried just yet. He's going to use these first 20 laps, which we are now 12 of 20 through, to try to take advantage, maybe learn a little something, and see what he can do from there. All right, so as they cross the line this time, it'll be 13 of 80 laps complete. That means just 7 laps to go here in stage number 1. You notice that start-finish line pretty close to the exit once you get on the straightaway off of turn number 4. And Pocono is interesting. I still always wondered how much different this track would race if they moved the start-finish line down towards the end of the front stretch. But the point that I wanted to get ready to make with it being there is you don't have a lot of time coming off turn 4. You can't set a guy up to pull a big draft and try to slingshot him coming down the straightaway. You pretty much got to set your move up to have the momentum while you're coming off the corner and pretty much be setting up to be side by side right about the time you're on exit. That's a tough thing to do. We'll see if anybody can make it happen. But right now, Mark Beverly maybe saved a little bit more tire here than Eric Hegdahl and anybody else that's been fighting for the lead so far here tonight, as he's looking to go up here and see if he can take the point right at the perfect time. As again, it'll be coming down to just 6 laps to go here in stage number 1. Everybody good to go on fuel. And by the way, 95% fuel. And these cars at a track like this, I would think that they should be able to make it probably at least somewhere right around, if I had to guess, maybe 30 to 35 laps. I think that would be my general window at the very least, maybe more towards kind of that 35 lap region. That's why they're plenty good to go here for the stage. Maybe more towards the 30 though. We'll find out, of course, once we get into that final stage after lap 20. But it should just be, I believe, a one stop from there if you can stretch it to at least lap 50. We'll have to see if they can do it. Only 200 miles again here tonight, so a little bit of a shorter event from what we're used to seeing. Kevin Winker now looking to the inside here of Haas Beverly. Clinton Woodby stuck on the outside at the moment as well. He is faded back just a few positions from where he peaked at during this run. Colton Hardy, who we said looked like was starting to get tight, looks like he's actually continuing to crawl his way through the field here. The 03 Colin Bollinger in the middle of this mix too. And it's about a 5 or 6 car little pack here that is all battling right now for what is that 4th position, as Woodby's going to go give another big push here to the 42 of Kevin Winker. Was that push enough to get him clear, or at least give him a chance to send it off in towards turn number 1? Bollinger way up the racetrack, and Winker got loose. That was a big catch from Kevin Winker. You saw the smoke out of the rear tires right there as he started lighting them up, but the 22 of Haas Beverly going to now prevail again through that chaos. So for Haas Beverly right here, this is going to be all about just trying to fend these guys off here. He wants to grab any possible stage points that he can, but he's going to lose it. Haas Beverly gets into the outside wall coming off the tunnel turn. And oh man, just as we start talking about what he's got to do, a mistake gets made. And for Haas Beverly now, it's going to be, can he limp it back? That's pretty significant damage on the right front, at least arrow-wise. So that car is going to be hurting on the straights with speed and hurting in the turns in terms of downforce. Let's go back and watch it here. He's just going to get a little too hot coming off on exit. We said that the tunnel turn, one of those corners where you really got to set it up just about perfect. It's kind of one line works best. And right here, oh, he just gets into it way too early. Gets down to the apex way too soon. And he's doing everything in his power right there to keep it off the inside, or the outside wall rather, but just can't quite do it. Tough break right there for Haas Beverly, but I think he'll be able to recover without any issues. And so the hope is that he is, of course, able to continue on, as we will now be coming to just 3 laps to go here at Pocono. And right now, Mark Beverly continuing to apply the pressure to the back bumper of Eric Hegdahl, running in that neon orange and yellow Tides and Menards paint scheme. And for Hegdahl, looking for a stage win here at the Tricky Triangle. Both of these two, though, better be careful, because Michael Newman, he's back there probably about 0.6 of a second or so, kind of just stalking, waiting in the footsteps here, these two. And if either one of them makes a mistake, you got to think he's going to be able to pounce, especially with such few laps left to go on the stage. Here we go, though. Mark Beverly going to make another lunge at it, down to the inside of the racetrack. Is it enough to make it work? Not quite. He'll have to slide up yet again behind the 11 of Eric Hegdahl. So yet again, another move attempted here for Mark Beverly. I think it's a good sign, though, for Mark to be able to see him continue to make this many moves over and over, and the car has not fallen off, at least not yet. And of course, the tunnel turn, very tricky to follow the guy in front of you when you're running that close, get caught in a lot of dirty air. That second pack, still very, very feisty. Kevin Winker right now looks to be the man in that 4th spot, trying to hold everybody off. And then David Traylor racing alongside with Colin Bollinger and Jesse Calloway. He's back up front. Hegdahl works his way off of turn 3 with Mark Beverly. And they now see just 2 laps to go here in stage number 1. If you had any sort of strategy that you were going to try regarding pit stops, and if that was to try to pit a little bit early, take some fuel, I would have thought we would have saw some of the drivers go in that time. So maybe Everybody committed to just staying out here, running this thing out of fuel, running this thing out of tires. And then once we get this stage break in just about a lap to a lap and a half time, go in, take 4 tires, fill it up with gas, and get ready for, again, what is going to be a long 60-lap run to the finish. Eric Hegdahl, though, still out in front by a good margin. Michael Newman, he's trying to catch. He's been hanging right about 0.6 of a second back now for the last lap and a half. He's going to have another lap and a half to try to close that up. And if you're Mark Beverly here, this is where you start experimenting. What can you do? You got to picture a scenario. If this was late in the race, how would you get around? If you 11 to Eric Hegdahl, do you try to set up a run for the straight? Do you try to maybe get alongside him and outbrake him into the corner? Beverly's got another big run. Here we go. White flag. 1 lap to go here in stage 1. Beverly's going to take a peek to the inside. This may be the 55's last chance here. Down into turn 1. What can he do? Beverly going to stay conservative here. Gets out of the gas a little early. That gives him a better roll through the center of the corner. Eric Hegdahl, though, hanging tough on the outside. They're both going to slide up off at 2. And it looks like it is Eric Hegdahl, at least that time, who's able to maintain the momentum. He will get back clear of Mark Beverly. And for Beverly, that may have been his last lunge. We'll see. Does he have one more shot here as they work through the tunnel turn? Eric Hegdahl with a nice late apex to keep Mark Beverly in as much dirty air as he possibly could. And now as they work through turn 3 for the final time in the stage, looks like Eric Hegdahl is going to get through the first half clean, and he'll get through the second half equally as clean. And so off at turn number 3, first stage, it's going to go to one of the white knuckle racing drivers. Eric Hegdahl takes stage 1 here at Pocono. So as they cross the line, they'll let a few more cross it before they ultimately throw the caution, and there it is. By the way, finishing second right there on the stage was Mark Beverly. Michael Newman rounds out the podium. So this is the first caution of the night. Again, it is scheduled for the one and only stage break that we have here on lap 20. So the field going to catch up to the pace car. And once they group up, they'll all bring it down for pit stops, full service, fuel, and tires. And then rack them up and get ready for that restart in the final stage. As they do that, we're going to go take a quick break. When we get back, see if we can get a word with your stage winner, Eric Hegdahl. Stick with us. We'll be back here at Pocono.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really on point.
But you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing. Three by three. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Welcome back to Pocono Raceway, live here tonight with the Asphalt Outlaws Racing Xfinity Series. Stage 1 is complete. Drivers have made pit stops. Your stage winner, Eric Hegdahl, looks to have lost some track position, but he was still your stage winner nonetheless. So let's see if we can bring him up, see how he's feeling right now. Hey, Eric, this is all set up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
All right, well, hey, man, you looked really good there through the first stage. Of course, you got the stage win, but it looks like now you may have to fight through a little bit of traffic here. What's going to be the game plan?
I guess first off, to survive the restart, got the someone staying out here on, I think, old tires, so this is going to be a little hectic, but yeah, first stage was, it went well. I didn't have any computer problems so far, so gotta try to gain, I think, 70-some points to make the playoffs, so yeah, see what happens.
Absolutely, and you know, kind of the other thing that we saw there through that first stage was a lot of battling between you and Mark Beverly. How important is clean air here when you compare it to some of the other tracks that we've been to?
Yeah, it's clean air's big everywhere. In these Xfinity cars, even though I felt like he was faster, he still had problems, you know, getting around me. It just shows how important having that clean air and having the lead is. So hopefully I can get it back here in the restart.
Sounds like a plan. Well, Eric, we'll let you go. Good job in stage 1. We'll see if we're talking to you again at the end of this race.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
All right, and there we go. By the way, just before we get back to Green Flag Racing, just want to let everybody know, in case you didn't check out any of the broadcasts last night or the other night, I am still, unfortunately, a bit under the weather, so my voice is still a little bit out of shape for what it normally is, so I apologize if can't quite maybe sound as excited. I don't know if that's the right word. If I get too high, the voice is going to crack more than it normally does, so again, apologies, but excited to be out here watching these guys, and nonetheless, Dylan Pause here, who's going to restart on the front row. I wonder if that's who Eric Hegdahl was referring to being on old tires. Either way, I'll tell you what, we're going to find out really, really quickly, because if you're on old tires, you are going to get eaten up here at the Tricky Triangle, especially after we get through that first corner. The tunnel turn on old tires is very, very difficult, especially on old cold tires. So we'll have to see here, but Dylan Pause getting ready to lead it back to green as the iRacing.com pace car is going to make that left turn down to the pit. So it's going to be just over 55 laps to go here at Pocono's. Green flag is back in the air, and it's a good restart for the 10 of Dylan Pause. Get the better jump than the 55 of Mark Beverly. We'll see if he slots up in line here, though. Doesn't look like it. Actually content to stay on the bottom, at least for the moment. And now as he dives down and off in towards turn number 1, let's see who's got the advantage. Oh, yeah, it must be Dylan Pause. It's on older tires, if anybody. Mark Beverly marches right around like Pause is standing still further back. A couple cars shoot off of the lead group right there towards the inside, just to make sure that they all keep it together. Now Eric Hegdahl looking to the inside of Dylan Pause right here. That leaves Kevin Winker currently trapped behind him with nowhere to go. Looks like Winker maybe getting a little impatient. Thought about three wide right there through the exit of the tunnel turn, but thought better of it. I think if you're Kevin Winker right there, that's a good decision. Now he's going to try the outside. Let's see if Dylan Pause tries to make a block. Won't have the opportunity to. Kevin Winker easily able to slot to the outside. Now Michael Newman's going to split him low. Colton Hardy goes up top. Trouble. Thompson got turned. Lance Thompson, huge hit into the inside safer barrier. It's right out where you enter the pit, so it will not draw the caution. Thompson, the only lucky break in that one is the fact that it happened where it did, so he's going to be able to bring this to his pit box, but that was a huge hit and now heavy damage for Lance Thompson in the 21, who it seemed like was having a decent run here tonight, and it's going to come to an end right here and now, unless he's able to get that fast spare popped out pretty quickly, and sure enough, he does, so he'll be okay. Looks like he's going to take at least rights. We'll see if he takes lefts as well. And so he doesn't have to fix any damage on that car. He'll go back out and see how long he can survive this, but I'll tell you what, this was a really, really unfortunate break right here for Lance Thompson. We'll go back and actually show you what it looked like here, as he just got hooked by somebody coming off of turn 3. Couldn't tell exactly who it was or exactly what caused it. So here we go. Watch from the chopper view. There's Thompson on the bottom of the racetrack. He's coming to the corner. Actually, it's Thompson gets loose Thompson's just getting loose coming off of turn 3. Again, we talked about it being a very, very flat corner. So when you put the throttle down, you've got to be smooth and the car has to be set. Sometimes it has a tendency to do this if it's not. And as it starts to go around on him, I mean, he just goes across the front nose of Woodby. I mean, nothing obviously that Clinton Woodby can do. And then, of course, takes that big shot right there into the inside safer barrier, right about where the pit entrance is. And here's one more look at that here from the cockpit view at full speed. Thompson looked pretty good through the center. And then as he gets on exit here, just the back end just starts to rotate. He tries to save it, but then too late at that point. And bam, big hit. Again, off that inside safer barrier before he brings it back up. Keeps it rolling, though. Eventually gets it to his pits. At least keeps himself with an opportunity in this race if we were to get a couple cautions. As it stands right now, Lance currently being scored a lap down, but about half a track or so in front of the rest of the field. And so as we turn our attention now back towards the front of the field, it's Mark Beverly who leads the way with 27 of 80 laps complete. And for Mark Beverly right now, he has about a 7, almost 0.8 of a second gap over second place Eric Hegdahl. Kevin Winker's third, with Colton Hardy back in fourth, and Michael Newman currently rounding out your top 5. Those two, by the way, Michael Newman and Colton Hardy, on a little bit of an island by themselves. And then for Jesse Calloway and Colin Bollinger, they're also kind of on an island by themselves. Looks like Bollinger, though, wants to get around this 4 car, see if he can go catch that lead group. And Bill Hales right now leading that second pack, which is all sorts of spread out. Bill Hales in the 53 and 8th, Evan Schilling 9th, Charles Van Schaik 10th, David Traylor 11th, Jesse Wise is in 12th. And then this is where that 4-car battle really heats up, because for Jesse Wise here, he's trying to fend off the 92 of Woodby, and he may get some help there because Woodby going to get side by side with his teammate there for just a moment. We see a couple spots back from them. The 62 machine, Roger Strickland, he's looking for a good run here tonight in that bright green car. So for Mark Beverly here, when you look at how the season's kind of been for him so far, you just start to wonder. I know we say it a lot in different races, but you just start to wonder, is tonight maybe his night? Hasn't necessarily been the luckiest guy this season by any stretch of the imagination. As a matter of fact, has yet to find victory lane this season, even though he did find it last season, so he's probably still got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. But for Beverly right now, I think the first focus is obviously going to have to be that first green flag pit stop, which we initially had said would be right around maybe lap 50. I think now they can maybe go a little bit longer if they have to. Maybe not, we'll have to see. But the point is, I think we're going to see that final green flag stop. It's only going to be one, because Impact Green with about 57 laps to go in this race. And so when you bring it down for pits, it'll obviously be 4 tires and full fuel. And we'll have to see what happens from there. So as Beverly continues to lead, you've currently got Kevin Winker second, Eric Hegdahl in third, with Michael Newman back in fourth. And then again, all the single file action further back looked like it was that Jesse Wise right there, or Clinton Woodby. One of the two that clipped the outside wall there coming off of the corner. The tunnel turn, really, we've only seen one issue with it so far here tonight. Let's see if we get another one. And of course, that issue was with Haas Beverly, which was almost what ended up being our first caution. But instead, our first caution came out as scheduled for the lap 20 stage break. David Traylor, by the way, still seems to be struggling a little bit right now. He has not been able to find speed for that 54 machine, at least not yet. He's still got plenty of time, but you don't want to sit back there too long. Right now, he runs in 11th with Jesse Wise, still pretty close. And just in front of him, Evan Schilling, who is also still pretty close at the moment. Michael Newman trying to fend off. Looks like the 97 of Colton Hardy. Eric Hegdahl trying to fend off Michael Newman. And then you've got, of course, Kevin Winker in the middle of those guys. And up front, leading the way, Mark Beverly, who is trying to hold them all off for the next 50 laps or so. And for the 12 of Michael Newman here, it's another driver who's looking for some sort of turnaround race. Maybe tonight's his night. He has not had the best season. That was another driver that we saw find much success last year. But so far, just nothing really been doing, at least nothing major doing this season. Now, we do, of course, have a couple of wildcard tracks still left up on the schedule, even in the regular season. So you can't count out, potentially, if you're one of these drivers that doesn't feel the best about some of these technical tracks, getting your first one there is, looks like Dylan Paz in the number 10 is going to bring it down for his first pit stop. So you wonder for Dylan here, is this just he finally either ran out of fuel or just felt like he was losing so much time on those older tires that he couldn't stay out anymore? Either way, whatever the deal was for Dylan Paz right here, this is going to potentially cost him a lap, as he was pretty far back. We'll have to see how quickly the leaders get here, but Looks like they're just now going through the tunnel turn. Let's see what it is here for pause. If it's 4 tires and fuel, that's where things could get a little bit close. It looks like there's going to be the right tires. We'll see if he props up the left as well, or if it's just 2 tires the call. Looks like he will prop up the left as well. So as the field now works their way through and off of turn number 3, Dylan Paul's going to put the hammer back down, and I believe that he will still be in good position here and actually come out in front of everybody. It looks like he does. Now, I say good position, not good position overall, but good position for this lucky dog here if he were to go a lap down. Right now, he is sitting just in front, or a little bit of a ways in front, position-wise, I should say, sitting just in front of Lance Thompson, who is the other car currently being scored a lap down. So as Mark Beverly continues to lead, Kevin Winker right now being the chaser and doing a pretty good job at it here. Winker, you know how good he is at super speedways. This track technically fits the super speedway description in terms of length, but maybe not so much in terms of average speed or the way and the type of racing that we get to see. As again, drafting and very important here down the straights. And the corner is very, very technical. You cannot run any corner the same here at Pocono as you would at, say, 1.5 miles, such as Las Vegas, maybe even Atlanta. This is, I mean, you're getting something new handed to you pretty much every single corner, and you have to be able to find a way to adjust to it. And so far, it seems like everybody's been doing a pretty nice job of that, especially Kevin Winker. So that was the onboard view there for Winker. Beverly with the best seat in the house though right now, leading the way, but he can see that Kevin Winker in the 42 continues to close the gap. So he'll be keeping close tabs on that here as we get closer to that first green flag pit stop, which is still at least probably 17 to 20 laps away. It's on 33, and we're not expecting him to release 50 or a bit after that. And while these guys continue to keep it pretty much single file through the majority of the pack, I do want to mention again the upcoming races for the Asphalt Outlaws Racing Xfinity Series. And so, of course, here tonight we are at Pocono, but things will get changed up, especially next week. Is I was trying to pull it up here on the side. I wanted to see if I could show it to everybody watching at home, but it looks like it's not going to let me, so well, that's okay for tonight. We'll just go ahead and read them off. Right now, again, where we stand is at Pocono Raceway, so that leaves just 2 races left in the regular season. So now points, of course, becoming very, very important. It comes down to just a matter of a couple for the last guy and last driver that makes it in. Round of 16, once it kicks off, it's going to be at Kansas Speedway, followed by Auto Club in Darlington, with the round of 10 at Kentucky, Daytona, and North Wilkesboro. And then the championship is at Homestead, Miami. By the way, the last 2 races after tonight is going to be Bristol and Talladega Super Speedway. So those are kind of, at least in my mind, 2 other tracks that really kind of count as a wild card, and anybody can get the job done. It's just going to be a matter of who finds themselves in the right place at the right time. Exactly as the 55, Mark Beverly continues to do right now. 35 of 60 laps complete. Mark Beverly still continues to be in charge out front as he does so. We'll take a quick break, but we'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us. We'll be right back at the Tricky Triangle.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive. Especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
flag is in the air. We are racing.
3 by 3.
Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. To the finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Welcome back to Pocono Raceway. 39 of 80 laps complete here in the Winning Bid 200 tonight. By the way, shout out to the Winning Bid, of course, for sponsoring tonight's action here at the Asphalt Outlaws Racing Xfinity Series. And shout out to really all the sponsors that help make things possible for these guys. I know that, again, they are wrapping things up at the end of this season in terms of the asphalt side. But some of the sponsors that you know are going to carry over, most likely at least, I think we're going to see QH Design continue next season, of course, with Colton Hardy. Just looking forward to that. But Muehlberger Custom Homes, the Winning Bid, QH Design, everybody that helps makes this stuff possible. Certainly appreciate them for everything that they do. As right now up front leading the way, Mark Beverly. Tell you what, you saw it on break too. Kevin Winker has not let him just completely pull away. It's kind of been a bit of a fluctuation. Seems like Beverly would get a gap, Winker would close it up, try a couple attempts at passing, but has yet to find a way by him. And we are now officially halfway through this 200-mile, 80-lap event. And for Winker, it's not no longer going to be about trying to just only focus on catching Beverly. It's about, can you hold these guys off behind you? And I think the answer is going to be a pretty quick no here, because look at the 11 of Eric Hegdahl, who's making a move to the inside. Eric Hegdahl with some momentum here. Is it enough to make something happen? Not that time. Now, you heard Eric Hegdahl actually mention in that interview that we got from him at the end of stage one that clean air, very important here, because it's so tough to pass once tires start to wear out. And so the 11's going to make that spot. You wonder if Kevin Winker maybe cut him a bit of a break. And now here comes a 3. Colin Bollinger, boy, he's got a heck of a run here down the front stretch, but he's not going to be able to take it because the 42 of Kevin Winker is pulling equally as much draft off the car just in front of him. So they'll all stay in line for the moment as they race down towards turn number 1. Everybody fans out. And I'll tell you what, Bollinger has really been kind of the one driver I would say that I've seen so far here tonight that has been able to make that really high line work as well as he has through turn 1. I mean, he has been flying up top. And you can see what it does for him. Once they get onto the straight here, he has the momentum. He's able to cross somebody over and get to their inside to set up for the tunnel turn. But then it kind of becomes that game of chicken throughout the tunnel turn, the game of who is going to bail out. Winker says, yeah, I don't think so. If you want this spot, you're going to have to take it the hard way. And Bollinger, by not being able to get clear right there, kind of stalls these two out. That allows Michael Newman to pull right up into the mix, Jesse Calloway as well. Has now 41 of 80 laps in the books, and for the 03 here, with Bollinger, he finally was able to get clear right there through turn 3. And now that he's got that spot from Kevin Winker, he's going to go see if he can chase down the back of Eric Hegdahl. But for Mark Beverly, who again is hoping that he can at least maintain this lead to the first green flag pit stop if he can, I think that sets him up in even better position, because he'll have that clean air again to work with. And if he needs to kind of reset the way that he saved tires through this first run, he'll kind of have the opportunity to do that. So we're about Again, I'd say maybe anywhere from maybe 8 to 12 laps or so away from when you got to start thinking about a pit stop here. Because again, we went back green with about 24 laps complete. And you figure if these guys could stretch it 30 from there, that could take them all the way to 54. But the window, I think, would open right around 50 complete. So maybe we'll actually see pit stops more towards the end of this fuel run. And a little bit after that fuel window to make it to the end opens up. So maybe more so around lap 55, give or take a lap, which again would be where we run right now, about 12 to 13 laps away. So it gives everybody a little bit more time to see if they can make up some more spots. And that is plenty of time in terms of if you save tire, you can make up a lot of spots pretty quickly. Colton Hardy, though, I'm really impressed with what I've seen tonight here from this guy. I mean, you know, one of the things that we have seen him struggling with quite a bit this season is that long run speed. Seems like he's been able to find it on the short run of a lot of these races where he qualifies on the pole and has great speed early. Then once he loses that speed, it seems like he just fades and you don't see him much the rest of the race. But right now he is rocking, and in fact, it's like he may be one of the more disciplined ones, saving some tire. Of course, right as I mentioned him, he gets into that outside wall right there. But overall, I think he's still okay. The 12 of Michael Newman, who sits just behind him right now, cutting him a little bit of a break. I think Newman actually kind of followed him into the outside wall that last time around. But for Colton Hardy, again, so far so good, and currently finds himself up 10 positions from where he started this race at. 44 of 80 laps now complete. You see, looks like that's Dylan Paws way there towards the back of your screen, trying to make something happen there on the inside. I can't tell who he was trying to make the move on exactly. But either way, for Dylan Paws right now, who currently sits back a lap down in 17th, he is going to need a caution, and actually he's 2 laps down, so he's going to need more than just a caution, as Woodby being a lap down would be in that free pass position. But who knows? Maybe Paws is able to go up here and get one of them back the hard way. Still has plenty of time to go here. We're just, again, a few laps over 40, halfway, and so just a couple handful of miles over the 100 marker here in this race, and still plenty of action to go. So if you're just tuning in, stick with us here. Things could get exciting, especially during and after this first green flag pit stop. Remember, that stage caution gave everybody the chance to top off on fuel and tire, but they didn't have to worry about trying to get onto pit road here, which, you know, in all fairness, this is by no means one of the trickiest pit roads that drivers have to face, but it is a very deceiving one, and I'll show you why here. First, let's hop on board here with Mark Beverly and show you exactly a couple things here. First, I guess, let's see what that time delta has been doing over the course of the last few laps. And it looks like the answer, at least for Mark Beverly in this case, is it's been trending not quite in the right direction for him. And, ooh, well, right as I say it, Clinton Woodby goes by. Woodby on fresher tires. He must have already made a pit stop. Very interesting right there for Woodby, who, again, was a lap down, no longer is. That shows you the difference in fresh tires. But for Beverly there, look at the last 5 laps. That gap between him and Eric Hegdahl has been decreasing. And then there you see pit road on the left side. And so the reason that the pits here is so deceiving is pretty simple. It's the idea that when you come off of turn 3, you're, again, you're carrying well over 150 miles an hour. You've got to go from 150 down to pace speed in a pretty short stretch. And so then that kind of, you have to make that decision of, can you wait till you get your car fully straight off the corner to brake? Or do you maybe have to duck down a little bit early, try to brake towards the exit of the corner? It's going to be all about how comfortable you feel under braking. And you're going to see a couple drivers, I have a feeling, wheeling these cars in. You're going to see a lot of lockups as well. But whoever gets in the best is going to set themselves up for a pretty good opportunity coming out of the pits, because look now, they're stacking this back up just behind the leader. Mark Beverly's still going to need to hold on for at least another 4 to 10 laps, probably 4 to 8 laps, I should say, if he wants to maintain this lead once they come out of the pit sequence. But I just don't know if it's going to happen. Seems like Beverly's starting to struggle a little bit now, and Eric Hegdahl, he can see that, so he's going to start applying the pressure as first pit stop here. Looks like it's going to be, I believe that was Kevin Winker, who decides to bring it down here for his first service. And looks like Winker's going to get down nice and clean. So the first pit stop under green of the night for one of your front runners goes off without a hitch, at least so far. Maybe I shouldn't jinx him just yet. But now that Kevin Winker has made that pit stop, you wonder if it's going to start to encourage a couple others to pit in. Oh, man, did he overshoot? No, he didn't. Boy, that's a lucky break right there. It looked briefly like he may have overshot. That would have cost him a ton of time, but a good stop so far. Again, for Kevin Winker, and now Winker's made that pit stop. You wonder, does that maybe kind of force the hand of some of these other drivers to think about pitting soon as well? And Beverly, big wiggle right there off of the tunnel turn. I'm not sure if he just briefly brushed the wall or if he just got really loose on the transition up. But man, that almost cost him a position and a race car. But he's able to save it. He's still alongside with Eric Hegdahl and Beverly. Yeah, he's had enough. He said, I think these tires have worn out to their limit. So he's going to bring it down to the pits. And based off, I think, when we see some of the other drivers pit, I still think this makes me think that there's at least a possibility that these guys can make it 30 laps, but maybe even a little longer than that, maybe more towards 35. And the reason I would think that is because if you're Beverly here and you feel that that's the case, you pit now, there's only about 33 laps to go in the race. So if he could stretch it to about 35, then he's going to go on fuel. And maybe, of course, just want to kind of reset his tire wear and see if he could maybe do a little bit better work with this next set of good years that he just took. And so now it puts the field in the hands of Eric Hegdahl, Colin Bollinger, and then the 4 of Jesse Calloway. And the question for these three is, when are they going to make their pit stops? As for the 11 here, will he decide to dive down off of turn number 3? Doesn't look like it, at least not yet. Nope, Hegdahl will not go. Neither will the 2 behind him. It doesn't look like anybody in this second pack is determined to pull down to the pits either yet. Saw Rick LePage back there by himself. And how about for Kevin Winker? Looks like he's still about half a track in front of everybody else. And they have separated into, looks like, about 2 or 3 different packs still. For even the cars who haven't necessarily pit yet, is we got another stop here. This time it's going to be the 54 of David Traylor for loose lug nuts. It looks like he does have some damage to the front end of that number 54 Toyota Supra. And let's see here. Does he get it fixed completely? No, he doesn't. He'll let them either optionally repair it, or he'll just save it for now and hope that we get a caution. And then, of course, come in to get it all fixed up then. Looks like they were able to maybe briefly take out just a couple of dents, but they're not going to be able to take out the big one there that is pushing that left front fender and left front kind of taillight area, or headlight area rather, in as much as it is. So back on track, and Eric Hegdahl has still not made a pit stop yet. I think this is a good call here for Hegdahl. The longer you stay out, the more on offense you're going to be able to be after you pit and take tires. And this group had become faster than Mark Beverly on the long run, so that's going to kind of flip and be in the same boat next run here. After, of course, these guys pit, eventually Beverly maybe transitions over to the lead, but I would think they'll track him back down, and they should be able to track him down even faster, knowing that they will now have much fresher tires next time they get to him. So Hegdahl currently on the bottom of the racetrack as they work through the tunnel turn. Works right back up to the top as the 03 machine of Colin Bollinger is in second. Jesse Calloway still third. By the way, now 50 of 80 laps in the books. So when they cross the line this time, it'll now officially be just 30 laps to go here at Pocono Raceway. Can everybody continue to keep it clean and green? That'll be part of the question. And again, you don't necessarily lose a lap here if you pit from one of the lead positions and take 4 tires. It's more so if you're towards the back of the pack that could be a potential issue. But, I mean, right now, just for Mark Beverly, it wasn't an issue at all. He sits in 10th, and once these guys do eventually make their pit stop, I'm telling you, Beverly is going to be light years ahead of them. But again, the problem is going to be more so, can he hold on? As you see Kevin Winker, who also already made his pit stop. Looks like he's in that same boat as Mark Beverly. Evan Schilling now going to bring his radar scope, number 18 Chevy Camaro, into the pits for service. And so as he does that, I do want to go back here to that battle that I was just mentioning here. And well, that's, if I can find it, looked like these guys had it going on for just a second. There it is. Kevin Winker here, I thought was maybe a little bit closer to Mark Beverly than what it looks like here. But Beverly's certainly still within striking distance, especially if Winker were to slip up and make some sort of a mistake. All things that you just got to keep an eye on here, because you never know. And all hell's going to break loose at Pocono. Still no sign of pitting yet, though, from Eric Hegdahl, who I think, if he's going to run this thing all the way out, can stretch it maybe another couple of laps. Maybe a few laps. Not much more than that. Maybe saved a little bit while he was in the draft, just kind of riding around there for a little while before he went up, tried to push the pace and see if he could get past Mark Beverly. And so maybe a bit of that saving on both tires and fuel is what's helping him out so much now, but either way, he's going to have to pit here pretty darn soon. And how about the 4, Jesse Calloway? What a great day he's having so far. He's up 9 positions from where he started this race at. Calloway, another driver who's very talented but has had a lot of bad luck this season. He's looking to see if he can turn that around potentially here tonight with, again, a win at the Tricky Triangle. Okay, let's see here. Is anybody going to make that left turn here to make a pit stop? Jesse Calloway certainly is. And so this will be for him first chance at full service under green. We go to the rear chase cam here. Did he have any damage? He does not. So that's good news, as always, for really any driver, especially Jesse Calloway in this case. So as he'll bring it down here for 4 tires and fuel, 53 of 80 complete. I would think that Hegdahl and company would pretty much have to come in this time. I'd be shocked if, well, maybe not this time, either this time or next time, but if they don't come into either of those two, I'd be shocked to see them still pushing it on fuel. And really, I mean, the amount of time that you have given back up to Mark Beverly at this point it's pretty miraculous. I mean, I know that they're going to have fresher tires and be able to gain it back once they pit, but you just get nervous once you start running maybe even too many laps. Something like this could happen. But Hegdahl and Bollinger clearly feeling like their cars are better on the long run and trying to take advantage of that long run speed and hoping that the tires can account for the short run speed once they come back out after that green flag pit stop. Now 54 of 80 laps in the books here. And the 11 of Eric Hegdahl continues to lead a single file line of about 5 cars or so on the high side. And they all fan out through the corners here through turn 1, through the tunnel a little bit, and obviously through turn 3. It seems like, I don't know, initially I would have kind of almost thought that maybe 3, turn number 3, well, I guess 3 is. I was going to say initially I thought actually turn 1 was going to be the best passing area. Turn 3 has been pretty good tonight, but I think I'm actually going to go ahead and give it back to turn number 1, especially if you're a guy like Colin Bollinger, who we saw make that third lane work, and I don't know how he did it because it is slippery up there with all the marbles. As you just saw right there, looked like Jesse Calloway, or was that Dylan Paws? Somebody just tagged the outside wall right there. Didn't look like that felt too good. It may have very well been Dylan Paws as he's losing some position now. And Eric Hegdahl works it out. Still, no pit yet for Eric Hegdahl. Man, very, very gutsy call right here. I'm very curious to see how well it works out for him, as we did have one peel off and decide to make a pit stop right here. And it looks like that was indeed the 12 of Michael Newman. I thought that's who it was. And so Michael Newman here, you got to presume, would take, well, what everybody else took. 4 tires and fuel, and then set up here now for what should be easily able to make it to the finish. It's going to be more important just to be aggressive than it is anything else. And if we get a caution at this point, then you're starting to slowly but surely push towards that late race section of the race. As we now go back to Eric Hegdahl, who, is going to tag the outside wall. That'll open the door up for Colin Bollinger. And one of the drivers who has been all but mistake-free all night makes one there. And now the 03, Bollinger is going to try to take advantage. Hegdahl, though, quickly able to sneak back in front. And so just like that, they're back to 2x2, and now they're going to both pit together. How about this? Eric Hegdahl and Colin Bollinger both make it in. Looks like they both getting clean at that. And if we look at the rear chase, they did get a couple more takers behind him here. Looks like Bill Hayes decided to go in. Charles Van Schaik did as well in that 23 machine. Okay, so now it'll be a question of where does everybody merge out in regards to where the leaders currently run. Look at that track map there on the left side of your screen. Look for the dot that says number 1, or at least as close to it as you can, because right now that is your leader. So you figure, I don't know, the guys that are sitting. In fact, we could actually look at this exactly. Well, it's not going to matter because, again, Beverly took the lead, and forgot that I made this point already. When you stay out that long on tires that are that much older, I mean, this is what's going to happen. It's just plain and simple. And Mark Beverly has just absolutely put a gap on everybody else besides the only truck sticking with him right now, which is Kevin Winker. And so we'll see how quickly they can get up to speed back there. But we are now officially at just 25 laps to go here at Pocono. And up front, still leading the way, is the 55 of Mark Beverly, with Kevin Winker second and Colton Hardy currently in third. We're going to go ahead and take another break. Stick with us, though. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive. Especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
Three by three.
Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. Hard into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. To the finish. Who gets it at the line? Cody Nagels wins it at Talladega.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Pocono Raceway, where we are approaching just 20 laps remaining here in the winning bid 200. And by the way, with the final pit sequence completely complete, and I know I said that same word twice, nonetheless though, the point I'm getting ready to make here is let's do some comparisons here and start to formulate some of the potential ways that this race could end. So okay, let's start first with the last two lap times here for Mark Beverly, now on considerably might be a strong word, but we'll say older tires for now than some of the cars just came out, such as Eric Hegdahl. So a 55.7 the last two laps for Mark Beverly. Compare that to Eric Hegdahl and what he ran on those fresher tires. A 54.5 and a 54.7. And so just over the course of the last two laps, he has been a second, almost a second and a half that lap before, faster than your leaders. So even though right now you see that gap is 9 seconds, 20 laps to go, it'll equal out a little bit more, but I think you could do the math there. I don't know. If you're Mark Beverly, I know you started to struggle with handling. I don't know if it's going to be the winning strategy, though. He's going to have to hope that Hegdahl and a couple of the others on fresher tires either get held up on the way back up here or something happens. Otherwise, again, I just don't know if, that time's a big enough of a gap here. We'll keep close eye on it, but just that lap right there got down, or just that half a lap, I should say, it got down another 0.3 of a second. Again, thank you to all that are tuning in. I apologize. Still feeling a bit under the weather, so if I sound a bit scratchy, that is why. Been trying my best, though, and good to see these guys out here tonight. Hope that everybody is having a good Friday night, Friday evening on top of that, because it is about 9:30 over here on the East Coast, and just 19 laps to go. We're getting closer to crowning winner here at Pocono, one of the tracks that I feel like a lot of drivers, I don't want to call it a bucket list track, but certainly one that you put as kind of a track you want to win at, because, it's different. It's not the typical mile and a half where you just, turn 1, turn 2 is similar to turn 3 and 4. Again, we mentioned it earlier, I think, that everything's different. Every corner is something different. It's one of the things that you love to see here at Pocono. So just 18 laps to go now. And again, Mark Beverly, massive gap right now over second place Kevin Winker. As a matter of fact, it's about 4.5 seconds. As Colton Hardy, who currently sits back in third, has Kevin Winker to his outside, so that's a position now for Hardy, and that moves Hardy up to second. I sat here and focused pretty much the last lap or 2 laps on thinking that, Eric Hegdahl is going to be the first car to get to Beverly, but maybe not. Maybe Colton Hardy goes up here, tracks down the 55, and tries to make something happen himself. That'll be the other question. Jesse Callaway, he's now up to 4th. That's 8 positions in the plus position, at least, where he started this race at. Michael Newman 5th, Eric Hegdahl in 6th. And for Hegdahl, that gap now down to under 7 seconds with 18 laps to go. So I believe he is still on pace. We'll be keeping close tabs on it. Colin Bollinger in 7th. And right now he is content to just follow Hegdahl. And these two, maybe with, I don't know if the word would be a mutual agreement, but some sort of, unspoken agreement here to just kind of work together to see if they can get up there and catch the leaders, knowing that they have certainly been two of the fastest cars here tonight. And then they'll sort it out amongst themselves once they get to that point. Evan Schilling right now is in 8th, Bill Hale's 9th, and Jesse Wise currently rounding out your top 10. Mark Beverly still sitting as your leader, though. He's led quite a few here tonight. In fact, he may have the most laps led so far here tonight. It's going to be close, though, between him and Eric Hegdahl. And next lap around for Mark Beverly, he will see 16 laps to go. By the way, next place that the PGR eSports broadcasting team will head is over on Monday night to the PGR Light Series. Make sure you check that out. And then, of course, the PGR 500 coming up now in less than a month. That will kick off on the 28th. A stellar broadcast team being put together for that, which will include Coke Series broadcaster Evan Pasoko. If you haven't heard him, look him up. And I promise you, the first video you see, if you've ever listened to an iRacing professional broadcast, you'll know exactly who it is. So 16 laps to go here. And it'll be 15 when they cross the line. And again, everybody's good to go on fuel at this point from what we know, unless we're missing something. And whoa, that was tight right there as Jesse Calloway looked like made that really, really quick maneuver down to give a push there to the 11 of Eric Hegdahl coming off of turn 1. And things got a little sketchy right there, but it seems as though they are all able to hold on. So now just 16 laps to go here at Pocono. We were waiting to hit 15, and I think that for Mark Beverly, he's getting ready to hit that right at the line. And that gap between himself and Colton Hardy has actually extended a little bit. It was about 4 seconds when Hardy made that pass. Now it's almost back to 5. But Eric Hegdahl, the driver that you really got to keep an eye on here, Michael Newman as well, arguably, they are now down to 5 seconds. I think Hegdahl is going to be the bigger threat, though, at the moment. He's got it down to, again, just about 5.5 seconds, maybe a little bit more, with 15 laps to go. So he's still well on pace to get there with the laps that we have remaining. And so then that, it kind of puts Beverly in a bit of a tough spot. Because when he gets there, obviously Beverly not just going to hand it to him. Beverly's going to fight for it. But, there's really only so much that he can do. Especially knowing that he's on so much older tires. Just wonder if Beverly would have pitted a lap or two later, would that have potentially changed something? I don't know. Nobody does. But it is going to definitely be interesting to see if Mark Beverly can find a way to fight for this win here and fend him off. This would be Beverly's first win of the season. And I think for Eric Hegdahl, again, it's been a pretty long season so far, but I believe for Eric Hegdahl, this would be his first win of the season as well. I don't think he's been able to run quite as many races so far this season as he did last season, and yet, sure enough, it would be. So for Hegdahl and Beverly, that's what it could come down to, the win for who's going to get their first win tonight here at Pocono. And you saw Hegdahl right there in the background. Looks like maybe just one more car to get by before he will be setting up to go fight for the lead. And sure enough, it is only one more. Michael Newman, who has closed it up to about 4.9 seconds, the gap between himself and leader Mark Beverly. And so will Hegdahl try to work with him here a little bit, or will he just try to go right around, not even have to worry about it? Again, working together on the straights is great. In the corners, it's not helpful. Gets you a lot of dirty air and can certainly cost you runs pretty quickly. Hegdahl, though, with a good run right here, we'll see if he just pushes Newman or if he immediately goes for the pass. Let's see what he does. Looks like, ooh, Newman got a little bit of a block right there. Hegdahl says, yeah, I don't think so. He looks a lane lower, utilizing all of that 5-6 lane wide front stretch. Now, Hegdahl on the bottom of the racetrack here. Can he complete this pass and take second away? Certainly trying, but couldn't quite do it. And this right here, this is what you can't have happen if you're Eric Hegdahl. Him and Michael Newman get to battling each other too much, too long right here. This is also going to have a big impact on Hegdahl's ability to go up there and try to track down your leader. Bollinger had actually fallen about a second back from Hegdahl, but that may get erased here, and I think it did actually, as a matter of fact, with side-by-side that those two just got in. So Bollinger, if he was falling out of the mix at all, he is now right back in it. And I don't think that Hegdahl is going to show too much patience now with Michael Newman after what just happened right there. And let's see. Is Hegdahl going to look for another run here down the front stretch? Indeed he is. Let's see if this time he's got enough to get clear as they go towards turn number 1. Hegdahl going to take that big sweeping dive to the bottom. Boy, he really sent it in deep right there. He's going to have to hope it sticks, though. Got to slide up now if you want to do it. There he goes. Is Michael Newman going to cross him over, though? Yes, he is. So Michael Newman is not going to go away easily here. I'm not sure if Michael's necessarily a teammate to Mark Beverly, or more so he just wants this second spot. I would think it's that one, but this is, I mean, he's Mark Beverly's best friend right now. Beverly is saying, keep racing him as hard as you can. And while I do acknowledge, I mean, these two are still slowly catching Beverly, they are not catching nearly as fast as they would be if they were working together right here, or if the 11 was able to just get by the 12 clean. Neither scenario has happened yet. Hegdahl is going to have to try to slide up again, but again, he just can't quite do it. Bollinger, though, is going to go with the 11 here. That may be the drafting help he needs to get clear, not have to worry about the 12 anymore, and indeed it is. So a little bit of an assist right there from Bollinger may finally be the thing that Eric Hegdahl needed to get clear for that second spot. So now he is set up to go chase down the leader, Mark Beverly. You see him there. There was Mark, and there goes Hegdahl, right now separated by about 3.9 seconds. And Michael Newman giving him a little shove down the straight. That'll certainly help that gap close up a little bit quicker. They'll be coming to just 10 laps to go. You can kind of do the math on that, but for Mark Beverly, it's not much wiggle room to work with. Beverly's going to have to be perfect, and he's going to have to hope that Hegdahl somehow can find a way to not reel him in at this pace that he's going right now. But with 10 laps to go, a little bit over, he's going to have to reel him in somewhere right around 0.3 of a second a lap. Maybe a little bit more since it's 3.5. We'll call it about, I don't know, 3.5 tenths a lap. I guess I should say 35 hundredths, however you want to call it. Either way, keep an eye on that scoring tower there on the left of your screen. Eric Hegdahl, who sits in second, continuing to try to track down Mark Beverly, who leads the way here at Pocono. Going through the field here one more time before we'll keep things focused up front. Keith Prince set to start the race. Not sure what issue he had, but never made a lap, so he got scored with the last place finish. Lance Thompson, the only car, and boy, this is a pretty crazy stat. Well, not the only car to take, I would say, a hit that could have potentially brought out the caution. Haas Beverly, and I believe we had one more. It was, Charles Van Schaik, both with an issue that got themselves fenced early on. And I apologize, but I'm looking here the data because you just saw Lance Thompson as he went by, and oh my goodness, look at the right front of this thing. I mean, it is destroyed. Whatever he hit something really hard. I'm honestly shocked that this car is even still on the racetrack driving as straight as it is. I mean, he has got to be scrubbing that right front tire, but either way, we'll get back to that, I guess, later. But my point was, Lance Thompson, one of the cars involved in an incident here tonight, didn't bring out the caution. Dylan Pauls currently sits in 17th, Rick LePage in 16th, with Clinton Woodby up in 15th. You got Roger Strickland 14th, Haas Beverly in 13th with David Traylor 12th. And it's Jesse Wise who currently sits in the 11th spot. Charles Van Schaik back to 10th. Kevin Winker 9th with Bill Hales in 8th. Evan Schilling 7th. Colton Hardy in 6th. Jesse Calloway 5th with Michael Newman in 4th. Alan Bollinger in 3rd. Eric Hegdahl in 2nd. And Mark Beverly still out in front, leading the way now with just 8 laps to go. In 8 laps, he's got a 2.3 second lead. Looks like right now, though, Colin Bollinger is still working with Eric Hegdahl, not necessarily trying to push the issue on the straights or in the corners, just trying to give him some draft, give him some push. He knows that it can mutually benefit them both. Michael Newman seems to be okay where he runs now for the moment. And if these three get up there, Mark Beverly, you know he's not just going to give it up. It's going to be a very interesting finish to this one. Again, if they can get there. Now just about 2 seconds. It'll drop to under 2 seconds as they exit the tunnel turn. And yeah, I could say with pretty good confidence now, they're going to get there, especially now because they're closing in on drafting range at Beverly, and that'll help them get there even quicker. As a matter of fact, they may be within drafting range right here as they come off of turn 3. And so now, I think if you're Beverly, you know that they're going to get to here probably within the course of, if I had to guess, anywhere from another lap to maybe 3 laps. I don't know if it's quite going to go as far as 3. I would say within 1 to 2 laps from now, they're going to be pretty much arriving on the back bumper of Mark Beverly. And when they get there, that'll be right about 5-6 laps to go or so, and Beverly's going to have his hands full. How hard will he and how hard can he fight for those remaining 5 laps to try to hold off a charging Eric Hegdahl, Asphalt Outlaws Racing driver, versus a White Knuckle Racing driver. Actually, I guess I should say 2 of them, of course, with the new addition in Colin Bollinger. who again is having a great run after winning the last race that these guys had just a couple of weeks ago. So indeed, they will cross the line to see 6 laps to go. As Mark Beverly works his way off of turn 3, he now sees Hegdahl getting bigger and bigger in his rearview mirror. Hegdahl now well within drafting range. And so he'll pull that gap up a little bit closer down the straights. Gets it down to just about a second now. And so he should be there right at about 5 to go or 4.5 to go. And if you're Bollinger, what do you do once you get in there? Do you try to use Mark Beverly as a pick? I mean, how do you go about it? Lance Thompson going to get well out of the way with some of that damage that he suffered. Doesn't want that affecting him at all, so he will go right down to the bottom of the racetrack, and I am still shocked that car is actually even running on track with as much damage as he had. He set up the track pretty big time right there. Make sure Thompson didn't clobber the wall. He did not. He's okay. And so that gap now 0.8 of a second. And again, the closer he gets, it may get a little bit tougher through some of these corners for Hegdahl. He won't have quite as much front downforce, but he's still going to keep closing that gap up. As they cross the line now to see just 5 laps to go, it sits at under 0.7 of a second. So this final second ticking down slowly but surely here for Mark Beverly. He has led so many laps here tonight, but Eric Hegdahl had the better long run car during that last green flag sequence. I guess I should say during the last pit sequence. And now he is on the offense here with just 5 laps to go. Gap now under 0.5 second between Eric Hegdahl and Mark Beverly. You can see both cars now in the same camera shot. And for Beverly here again, just trying to hit all his marks, not trying to overdo it. He knows he can only do what the car is going to give him and the tires are going to allow for right now. Hegdahl with another good run here. Let's see if he can set himself up here for the front stretch, maybe for a big run here on Mark Beverly. What has he got? Looks like he's going to get off of turn 3 pretty good. Beverly with a little bit of a wash-up right there. Here we go. Eric Hegdahl pulling a big draft down the straight. Will he have enough to potentially make a run up? That cool track temp, maybe what's keeping the tire life just enough for Beverly. And Beverly not going to throw a block, not yet. Hegdahl going to look a lane lower, and now Beverly's going to chop his nose off in the middle of the corner, trying to take some of the air away from Eric Hegdahl. But, oh, man, look at the tire difference. Not even close. Hegdahl able to turn down another lane in the middle of the corner like it's nothing right there. And these guys are going to shoot right by Mark Beverly. So with 3.5 laps to go, Mark Beverly, oh, he's going to get turned. Mark Beverly with a little bit of netcode contact in the tunnel turn. He saves it. What a heck of a save from Mark Beverly. But now he's not only going to lose the lead, he is going to lose 4 more positions as he falls all the way back to 5th. Man, what a save from Mark Beverly. I think, again, that was a little bit of netcode contact, but let's go back and look at this here. As right as they get into the tunnel turn, you thought they were going to shoot by Beverly, but Mark says, no, I don't think so. I'm going to hold on to this one to the end, and I mean, Beverly goes down. Well, that's close. There might have been some contact, and if that was, I wouldn't call that much more than just really tight racing here. Beverly's hoping that Hegdahl's going to get to the bottom sooner and that Beverly can kind of pinch him down there. Hegdahl is not quite ready to enter the corner yet, and there's either slight netcode or slight contact either way, though. Look at that save right there. Mark Beverly to hold on to that car. All right, going back live now and back up front as Eric Hegdahl still leads. Colin Bollinger, oh, he's going to get turned. Colin Bollinger's going to get turned. Now Michael Newman's going to go around. Will this draw a caution? Yes, it does. Caution is out with 3 laps to go. Both drivers are going to save it. But in a wild turn of events in a race that went green all the way through minus the stage caution, we are going to head into an overtime. And Michael Newman has some pretty significant rear end damage to this race car. This thing is not looking too good. And you just wonder what in the world happened there between these guys. Seemed like they had all been kind of working with each other, but once they got there, I don't know if everybody just realized that there's an opportunity to go to victory lane all of a sudden or what, but they got aggressive, and man, watch it again here. Okay, so here we go. We'll pause it right here for you. And watches the 03 machine. Colin Bollinger. So right here, everything's fine. In fact, let's back this up a little more. Make sure I didn't miss anything here. As they went through the tunnel, no issues there. Everything looks clean. And the issue that these two are going to have is actually going to be over here in turn number 3. Let's see, does Newman get a little bit of a run through the tunnel turn? Maybe a little bit of a one here. He starts to get a bit of a run up on the 03 of Bollinger, excuse me. And then as they get to the corner, Newman goes to go low. Bollinger goes to throw a bit of a block. And as Bollinger goes to wash back up, Michael Newman gets back into him and then Newman gets into the 4. That was really just kind of an odd look all over the place. Let's go to the onboard view for Newman here and see if that second hit may have been a little bit of retaliation or if he was just trying to catch the car still. So Bollinger's going to throw a block here that I don't think Michael Newman appreciated too much. He has to burp the throttle and then... That's hard to tell. I don't... That's actually coming through the tunnel turn, by the way. I apologize. That was turn 1 where he got the run off of. I don't believe that there was any intention right there from Michael Newman because you heard how quickly he bails out of the throttle once this contact happens. I think that Newman was just trying to hope that he could get to the inside of Bollinger right here. He's committed to it. Yeah, because you see him, he's actually turning the wheel left, so he's not trying to hit the 03 at all. So no intention right there for Michael Newman to do that. It's just two guys really going for it at the end. A lot of hard racing that leads to this incident, and once that contact's made, the 03 again had a heck of a save. I don't know how he doesn't go up here and hit the outside wall. If he doesn't, that is. You see Jesse Calloway also getting in the marbles. Looks like they do both save it. Unfortunately for Michael Newman, he's the unlucky one there as he does get into the outside wall, gives himself some damage that he'll have to go in and get repaired. There's the 03 slide sideways, and damage as well on top of that for Michael Newman. I'll give you one more look here from TV3, and then we'll go to the blimp cam one more time. So this is what it looked like again here, kind of from the far camera view, and bam. There's that hit from Michael Newman that just about ripped the rear end of that race car off. And one more look here again from the blimp cam, which is a little bit higher than I would like to see, but let's see if we can get an angle here. So at that point, he's under him, and then right there's contact, and for Bollinger, he's just trying to block, do whatever he can, knowing that it's the end of a race. And lucky that didn't collect a couple more with how many cars were in the near vicinity. Again, only one with major damage there. Bollinger may have a little bit, but it's going to be Michael Newman who's going to have to go in and use a fast spare if he chooses to do so. And it looks like he did because that car is all cleaned up now, so he'll be ready for this first overtime attempt. By the way, how about this? I mean, you talk about a complete change in the way your race is going. David Traylor, who had been struggling all night, we really hadn't called his name much, which is pretty surprising because we're used to seeing him up front so much. The driver out of Conyers, Georgia, right now leads the way, and what I believe was a strategy call here at the end, as he's now up 16 spots from where he started this race at. Jesse Calloway, though, in second. He's got an opportunity. How about Colin Bollinger in third, with Eric Hegdahl fourth, Mark Beverly in fifth, and I believe that what those guys did is they may have went in to take tires, and you would kind of expect that they would have under this caution. Let's go back here while we get ready to get the green flag back in the air and see who all pit and what all they decided to take here. So Eric Hegdahl is going to lead him down here. Not too much surprising right here as we'll speed this up. See if we can actually see when they get in their box what everybody takes. If anybody went with 2, or if everybody, decided to take 4. So as Hegdahl gets into his box right there, watch some of the cars in the background. You see the right side getting jacked up on just about all of them. Does anybody leave here with just the right side being dropped? None near the front, that's for sure. And in the back, looks like 4 for Beverly, 4 for Hegdahl. All right, so I believe all the drivers here took 4 tires. Jesse Calloway, maybe not. We're getting ready to find out because it's going to be a 2-lap shootout in which they have to make it to the white flag to make this race official. And if you are on old tires, you're going to find out pretty quick here. I mean, these guys are going to get eaten up if they are on older tires in comparison. It's that iRacing.com pace car with the lights off. By the way, if you're just tuning in and you missed anything, you didn't miss much. It was a very clean and green race. We had one caution for the stage break at lap 20. And then chaos with just 2 or 3 laps to go in this race that has put us under caution is now taking us to what will be our first attempt here at overtime tonight. I believe we've got a couple at it, but hoping these guys can, of course, wrap it up in one here by keeping it clean. And David Traylor, boy, I know he's won a lot and he doesn't need it, but this is an opportunity right here in a race where you feel like you really didn't, hate to say it, but really didn't do anything right, to all of a sudden have this opportunity on the front row with what will be a 2-lap shootout. It's a big opportunity for him, as is for Jesse Calloway, who's looking for his first win. Hegdahl looking for his first win. Bollinger looking to go back-to-back. And Mark Beverly also looking for his first win. They may not have fanned out down this front stretch much on the 2 restarts before this, but they very well may now. Here we go. Green flag in the air. 2 laps to go. We're in overtime at Pocono. And it's a good restart for the 54. David Traylor, he made sure to get a big jump. Field not going to fan out too much further back. They stay 2 by 2 as they work off in towards turn number 1. Hegdahl up top. Let's see if he can get some momentum. Jesse Calloway maybe struggling just a little bit on the bottom here. Oh, trouble in the back. Oh, one into the wall. This may bring the caution right back out. Let's see. That was Haas Beverly, the 22, back up the racetrack, and he's trying to figure out how to get this thing back going here. Still no caution at the moment. And so he gets it back rolling. We'll go back up front. We'll look at it after. And now, well, never mind. We're going to not have to wait because caution is now out. Azoo. Apologies right there. As the 54, David Traylor still being scored as your leader. Hegdahl makes it up to second. Callaway got to feel a little bit like the big loser on that one. We'll see where it lines him up, though. And Colin Bollinger was able to get to third. All right, let's go back and see what happens. This was Haas Beverly that tagged the inside wall here. Had a pretty heavy hit, too. Backing it up here and seeing exactly what caused it. Let's go first here to the chopper view. And so you see Haas, is he just going to get loose or is he going to get some help? Oh, he gets loose. Him and Jesse Wise almost synchronized with how they both got loose. And he does a good job there of initially saving it from hitting that first wall. That would have been an even bigger hit, but then unfortunately not able to miss that second wall. He's going to hit the inside wall, and then as he bounces off here, he's going to head right back up into the racing surface and take a second big shot right here. And so that may very well end his chances. Brings it to a halt, and then going to set it up to get it in reverse. He eventually does and gets it back rolling, but at this point, caution had flown. And so here's what it looked like from Haas Beverly's view, and it's just cold tires. And earlier, you're kind of being careful, right? You're kind of trying to take it nice and easy, but at this point in the race, you're pushing the issue. And Haas is trying to get that throttle down as quick as he can here. It's just a little too much right there on the exit. You saw smoke in front. Other guys also getting loose. And I'll tell you what, if he's got another, I don't know, 100 feet before that inside wall, he maybe saves it, but just ran out of room there, unfortunately. And so for Haas Beverly, don't know if he's got a fast spare. He got a heavy hit into the wall earlier, didn't bring out the caution. I think he may have used that one. If that's the case, and this may very well be an end of a night situation for Haas Beverly. As there's another look from TV3. And then, of course, we can see this one more time here in the blimp cam before we go back live up front and set ourselves up for second overtime attempt. And so for Haas, here you go. Watch this. Watch how close he is to this first wall. Oh, and slow that down just a little bit. And again, watch how close he gets this first wall. I mean, he is probably about a foot from clobbering that first inside wall before it kind of indents in. But then unfortunately, as we mentioned, just ran out of real estate here trying to dodge a second one. And so that is your second incident that has brought out caution here tonight. And so now as we go back live, again, David Traylor still being scored as your leader. Eric Hegdahl second. Colin Bollinger in third. Jesse Callaway fourth. And Mark Beverly currently rounding out your top five. And for David Traylor here, he's got to be feeling like this is a pretty big opportunity. Let's see what his game plan is going to be here for this second overtime attempt. Hey, David, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Austin, I got you.
Well, man, it seems like, you know, kind of as rare as it is, tonight was not really your night overall. At least it didn't seem that way until we got that late caution. Now you flipped the track position. Here you are up front with what's going to be a two-lap shootout. How'd you feel about that first restart, and what's going to be the key here to bringing it back to the line first?
I felt decent with the first restart. Like I said, it's no secret I don't have speed tonight. I've been pretty sick the last couple of days, so head's not really in it. Can't get focused like I want to. So I just kind of gambled on strategy. I knew finishing 12th was gonna suck, so I figured maybe I could try something different and get a better spot. So I think as long as I don't spin out or hit the wall, hopefully I can bring home a top five, which I'll be more than happy with. But yeah, it's been a tough race so far for sure.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what, on the sickness side of things, I can agree with you, David. I'm in the same boat, but hey, we're going to see if you can get the job done here tonight. We'll see if we're talking to you in victory lane. We appreciate you talking to us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Austin.
All right, going to go ahead and move David right back down to his team, the Loose Lug Nuts. And so as we do get ready to get back to green flag racing here, you see the lights go off on the pace car. By the way, for everybody that we don't normally see in some of the other broadcasts, hope that you had a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. As 2025 off to a good start so far. The Asphalt Outlaws Racing Xfinity Series. And for David Trailer here. See if he can get another big jump, just as he did on that first one. I do agree that's going to be one of the big keys here. Eric Hegdahl on his inside, one of his older teammates here from the beginning of the season. We'll see if those two show any love lost for each other. By the way, we either have a total of 2 or 3 green-white checkers. So if they can't get it done right here, this either will wrap it up or they'll have one more. I think they may have one more. Ooh, sounds like somebody scraped the outside wall right there. And that tunnel turn, I think, is really going to be one of the defining points. And, you know, I think for David Trailer, why it's so important, obviously, to get a good restart, not only to get ahead of everybody else, but if he's on any sort of different tiring strategy or differing tire strategy, he doesn't want to go into any of these corners side by side because he's going to be at the disadvantage. So right now, the goal is just single file, you know, try to get enough of a jump that you can get through the tunnel turn and maybe even get this whole first lap out of the way up front. And then if you got to battle a guy the last lap, it may be a little bit easier to deal with, but we're getting ready to see. They didn't fan out too much either on that last restart. They'll get another shot at it. We'll see if they change some things around this time as pace car working its way off of turn number 3. And it will make the left turn back down to the pits potentially for the final time here tonight. All right, here we go. Field going to work back into the Geico restart zone. Green flag in the air. Overtime attempt number 2 underway. And big stack up right out of the gate. We're going to wreck them up here on the restart. Maybe. Does everyone save it? Man, they somehow save it, but a chaotic restart. That's going to spread the field out. They're all over the place in the back. 3, 4 wide, trying to figure it out. Multiple cars with damage. But up front, looks like they keep it clean for David Trailer here, though. Side by side with Hegdahl. Looks like he is going to lose the advantage. One into the wall. It's Mark Beverly. He's going to clean out Jesse Calloway. Now they're going to wreck him up big time. Huge hit. Oh, my goodness. Mark Beverly up into the air. This is the big one at Pocono. They're still wrecking. Rick LePage gets clobbered. Oh, my goodness. That's one of the biggest wrecks we have seen all season. Beverly is junk. Rick LePage is junk. I mean, just about every car stopped on the backstretch right here is destroyed. Man, that was violent. And it all started, boy, we had all sorts of stuff. We're going to go straight to replay here to try to sort out all the differing chaos that happened here from start to finish. All right, so let's back this up. Let's go first here to this restart where everything goes wrong. And I'm not sure exactly what went wrong here, unless it's just everybody jumped it before the leader went. So let's see. This is right as you get into the restart zone here. Watch out back. David Trailer can go anywhere in the box. He can go as late as he wants. And they start stacking them up on the inside. I'm not really sure why. I guess would be the best way to put it here. Let's see. Does Colton Hardy get a little eager beaver here? Or is that somebody behind him that runs into him that shoves him in? Going to the zone. Ooh. Looks like Hardy and Bollinger both just jump it a little bit. That's what it looked like to me, that's for sure. Watch Bollinger here and listen to the throttle. It's a very, very odd stack up. But yeah, it seemed like both cars in the second row just getting a little bit of a jump unless, well, Beverly does run into the back of the 03, but you wonder, did the 03 flinch first? And did that cause Mark to maybe make that little bit of a jump? I don't believe he did. No, I think Mark, well, no, he did. Take that back just before they get into the zone. Maybe even when they were in the zone here. See the 03 start to roll. Beverly sees that, so Beverly's going to see the 03 watch right there. The 03 hits the gas, so 55 says, oh, we're going. But Hegdahl hasn't gone yet. And they just stack them up on the inside and outside. We've seen that before with David Trailer leading. He likes to wait till the end of the box, and some guys just get a little too antsy behind him. And, I mean, look at this. I don't know how this wasn't the wreck right here. Everybody just clobbering each other with nowhere to go. They fan out 3 and 4 wide, but they do all eventually save it. And I thought for a minute there that was going to kind of help these guys up front because they just basically took out half of the pack from having any chance at it. But then here we go. Mark Beverly, what's going to go wrong for him here? Going through 1 and 2, he's on the high lane. And he's almost in the wall, but he's okay there. And then as he comes off the corner, he does get into the wall, comes down the racetrack, gets into Jesse Calloway. That's going to turn both himself and Jesse Calloway around. Beverly's going to hit the inside wall, comes back down, gets clobbered, then gets wedged. And the inside safer barrier, and boy, they just started piling them up all over the place at that point. Watch this again here from TV2. Beverly here, when he first starts to go around, if Calloway's not there, he maybe saves this. I think he does, actually. But Callaway's there. He clips him, and it's going to be on from here. Watch some of these hits. I mean, this was a wicked one, to say the least. Look how high Mark Beverly's car gets up in the air. I mean, that thing is clearing the catch fence. It's so high, and then eventually bounces back down on all four. But look at the cars involved. Jesse Wise, Michael Newman, Clinton Woodby, somebody up by the wall there that got pinched we didn't even see. I think that might be Dylan Pause. Mentioned Woodby. Look at Rick LePage. Gets clobbered by the 21 of Lance Thompson. Evan Schilling was in this. I mean, this is probably about half to three-quarters of the field in this wreck. Haas Beverly, Colton Hardy. For the back, trying to see who else that was that gets involved. I mean, this was just a massive, massive wreck all the way around. And for Lance Thompson, he got a pretty good view of it. Then, unfortunately, was a part of it here at the end. Let's see what he saw. Comes off two, he sees him wrecking and starts letting out of the throttle, tries to gas up to the gap, gets turned, and then that is a big, big hit for Thompson and multiple others. And let's go take one more view here. A couple more, actually, but first I want to get another onboard view, and this one is going to be from Mark Beverly. He took the biggest hit of them all right here. Watch this. Get way up in the air for the 55 of Mark Beverly. That car finally sets back down, and again, easily one of the wildest and worst wrecks that we have seen all season in the Asphalt Outlaws Racing Series. So as they continue to get it cleaned up, that may very well take out a handful of cars. As back up front, lights are back off on the pace car, and we are now going green for what I believe will officially be our final attempt at a green-white checkered. And what does that mean? It means if we get a caution, race will be declared official, and we will finish it under caution. So up front, leading the way, you've got Eric Hegdahl, David Traylor in second, the 03 of Colin Bollinger in third, with Kevin Winker in fourth, Charles Van Schaik in fifth, and then it looks like further back in sixth is where you've got Strickland, who, by the way, Roger Strickland, haven't got to call his name too much here tonight, but finds himself in good position now. We'll have to see. There is a lot of cars that are still hurt a little bit in one way or another. Some have used their fast repair and are cleaned up. Others with some damage at least somewhere on the car. And for at least Hegdahl, I'm not sure for David Traylor, but for Hegdahl, he's got at least a little bit of damage here on the rear end of that race car. You can see it right there. It looks like David Traylor is okay. But these two on the front row again. This time, though, it's Hegdahl who's in control of the restart. So we'll see if he can get a good jump this time around. So again, two-lap shootout, same rules as the last two, where they've got to make it to the white flag for this race to be official. But this time, if they don't, we'll get a caution, but we won't rack them up and try it again. We will officially finish this race under caution. So they've got to make it a lap under green to be able to race it back to the checkered flag. All right, here we go. iRacing.com pace car this time will officially pull off for the last time here tonight. He may make it back out on the racetrack, but he won't have to worry about setting these guys up for another restart because this is our final attempt. This time, Eric Hegdahl catches Traylor way off guard. He goes right at the start of the restart zone. David Traylor not ready for that. That allows Colin Bollinger to get clear as well. They both quickly jump right to the top of the racetrack to lead the field down into turn number one. Watch for Kevin Winker to look for maybe a little bit of three wide right here. They're going to stay even, though, so far, at least towards the middle portions up front. Looks like Bollinger fades a little bit from the back bumper of Eric Hegdahl. Beverly and Dylan Pause still trying to find a spot in line. Looks like, that's Charles Van Schaik. Looks like he's going to go ahead and commit to trying to stay side by side into the tunnel. But he won't be able to make it work, at least not that time. Pause tries to cross him over. Meanwhile, back up front, Eric Hegdahl trying to see if he can grab the white flag to make this race official. And for David Traylor, I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get back there. Can he maybe give Bollinger a push, something to get himself and that 03 up there to try to set up for one more move? Here we go, white flag in the air, one lap to go here at Pocono. David Traylor's going to give a big push down the front stretch right here to Bollinger, pushes him to back within 0.2 of a second. Not enough to get any closer, though. And Traylor took the eyesight here. Watch for a move to be made down the backstretch. Oh, Dylan Pause. He may get turned trying to save it. Now they are going to get wrecked. In the back, another big wreck as they're going to pile them up down the backstretch. No caution, though. It's the last lap, so back up front we go. Eric Hegdahl, final time coming through the tunnel turn, and so far, so good. Looks like the 03 Bollinger may not quite have enough. One more corner to go, and for Eric Hegdahl, he fought all night, was waiting to see if he could get past Mark Beverly for the win in a long green flag run. He did that, but then we got a late caution. Through all the chaos of overtime, the 11 will prevail. First win of the season is going to come for Eric Hegdahl at Pocono. White Knuckle Racing gets the job done. Eric Hegdahl is your race winner. Colin Bollinger finishes in second, and it's David Traylor rounding out your podium. Good comeback for him in this one. And what a chaotic sequence of overtimes that we had right there. Certainly one of the most chaotic ones that we have seen in quite some time. As Eric Hegdahl is going to bring it around to celebrate. A lot of incidents there on that last lap, and as the results come in here, we'll show you as Eric Hegdahl will again bring it around to celebrate. And of course, we'll get an interview with him and the other two of your top 3 podium finishers after that. And Colton Hardy going to give a little shove to his old teammate. Says, nice job on that one, buddy. 97, Colton Hardy, a bit of a rough night, especially there towards the end. That last wreck, you could tell everybody had had enough. Nobody was lifting, as it looks like we still, believe it or not, have some cars here that are trying to limp it to the line, I believe. That is the reason that we still don't have results, even though Hegdahl has already made it a full another lap around. And so we will continue to await these results. Should get them sooner or later. As Eric Hegdahl will get a burnout. Let's see here. The 11's thinking about it. And he's going to go ahead and do a little bit of a backwards burnout. There you go. Eric Hegdahl going to burn it down in front of the virtual crowd. And just as he does so, final cars have crossed the start-finish line finally. Again, Eric Hegdahl, your official winner of the Winning Bid 200 here at Pocono. Colin Bollinger finishes second. David Traylor third with Kevin Winker fourth. You've got Charles Van Schaik in fifth. Colton Hardy sixth. Bill Hales in seventh with Jesse Wise eighth. Jesse Calloway in at ninth. And Michael Newman rounding out your top 10. Roger Strickland finishes 11th. Dylan Paul is 12th. Mark Beverly in 13th with Evan Schilling in 14th. Haas Beverly finishes in 15th. Rick LePage in 16th. Clinton Woodby 17th with Lance Thompson in 18th. And rounding out the field here tonight in 19th is Keith Prince. All right, so we're going to go ahead and grab your top 3 for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Pocono. All right, going to kick things off first here tonight with your race winner. For White Knuckle Racing, it's Eric Hegdahl. Eric, this is all set up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, we talked to you at the end of stage 1. You got the job done there, and now you get the sweep by getting the win at Pocono. First of all, man, it took a little bit longer this season than it did last season to grab that first win. How does it feel to get that chip off your shoulder?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. First off, got to thank Colin. He could have done it without him. He helped me a lot there, drafting when we stayed out longer on that long run. Able to run Mark down, and I don't know what happened between me and him. I haven't seen a replay. That's not me. Didn't mean to get into him, but there in that last restart or the restart prior, almost wrecked on the restart. I did not want to see that yellow come out with Newman. I was in a pretty good spot there, and just kind of worried about losing the win there, but got it done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even with all the chaos we saw there in overtime, what was going through your head when you saw, guys wrecking out in your mirror? You got ran into the pack of on the one restart. How do you hold on through all that chaos?
Yeah, when I got hit from behind, I was afraid. I wasn't sure if I had any damage or if I maybe got like a black flag for jumping or anything can happen. But yeah, I was also pretty low on fuel. I had like maybe just a few laps, so that was a concern. But overall, is after having so many computer problems, losing connection, my power going out, just nice to have a fun race.
A fun race to watch at that. Well, Eric, you got your first win, so before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, shout out to you for putting on a great broadcast every week. Can't wait to go back and watch this one. Shout out to my teammates, Colin, Dylan, Clinton, for everything they do, and Sonic Graphic Design and all the other sponsors, and yeah.
Again, Eric, thank you for talking to us. Congrats on the win. First one of the season, but may now start to kick off a hot streak. We'll see you next week.
All right, thank you, buddy.
All right, now that'll bring us up to your second place finisher here tonight, if we can find him here. And that is Colin Bollinger. Let's go ahead and see how he's feeling after that second place finish. Hey, Colin, this is Austin up at the booth. Get a copy.
Yes, sir.
Well, you bring home second here tonight. You got the win last race. Not quite able to go back to back. What more do you think you needed there at the end to go catch your teammate?
I mean, I don't know. I think I had a little rear end damage, so it was starting to get a little hard for me to control it going into one, and especially coming through, going into three, it was starting to get pretty loose. So, I mean, a clean car perhaps, but I didn't want to risk going into the pits and losing all the spots that I got back. So, we're happy with the second either way. I mean, me and Eric had a good run, and it was a good run all the way back to the field on the pit strategy and stuff. So, nothing. I couldn't really ask for anything more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you kind of come into the season again a little bit late. You know that you may not necessarily be fighting, obviously, to make a playoff appearance or a championship run. So how do you what's the mindset here? How do you try to work with the team, and what's the overall goal for the remainder of the season?
Well, I mean, we're doing anything that honestly the team needs. I mean, tonight, I wasn't racing like in some spots. If Eric needed a little breather, I wouldn't race him as hard, and he'll do the same thing for me. So I mean. But honestly, the rest of the year, it's just have fun, and we're going to try to win. I mean, that's really it.
Chasing trophies.
We didn't qualify tonight. Yep, we didn't qualify tonight. We started in the back, and we were just trying to have fun and run through the field.
Yeah, I was going to say chasing trophies. Yeah, that's got to be the name of the game, I would think. And, I mean, you've already got one. You came pretty close here tonight. Next week, we head to Bristol. How you feeling about your chances there?
I mean, I think it's one of my not great short tracks. It's one of my I struggle there a little bit, but I mean, hopefully we'll try to turn some laps in the practice lobby, obviously next week, and see if we can try to figure something out.
All right, well, Colin, before we let you head out here tonight to go celebrate the second place finish, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Oh yeah, all the guys in the chat tonight. Eric, Clinton, and I can't remember his other name, kid's name. But he knows who he is. So yeah, all those guys. I mean, because we had a pretty fun night. So,
Colin, as always, thank you for talking to us. Congrats on the second place finish, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, thank you.
All right, now that'll bring us up to your final podium finisher here of the night, and that is David Traylor. David, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, gotcha, Austin.
Well, we bring him a third place finish, and I got to think it kind of feels like a win. Did you think you had a good shot there at the end before we got into the second and third overtimes?
Maybe I might have had a shot if I had hit the restart a little better. Eric had timed it pretty well, and that kind of gave him all the momentum he needed. But yeah, like you said, after how the race went and how it finished, I can't really complain about a third place. It's about as good as I could have asked for with the speed we had tonight.
Absolutely, and with as many wins though as you've already got on the season, I got to think you're looking ahead to the playoffs, which is just a couple races away. So what do you do from here, knowing that, again, there is just a couple of races and, in fact, a couple of wild cards with Bristol and Talladega? Do you try to get a little bit more momentum going into the playoffs? Do you try to help a teammate? What's the plan?
Yeah, obviously I want to keep my momentum up. I don't want to slow down and find a rut. But if I can help get a teammate in, if they're not already locked in here, then I'll gladly do that. But at the end of the day, I just want to make sure I've got a good head on my shoulders and head into the playoffs.
Absolutely. Well, David, a good finish here tonight. So to wrap it up before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Oh yeah, first off, thanks to my teammates for helping me and supporting me during this race. Jesse Wise, Jesse Calloway, and Colton Hardy, they all were having pretty good runs. Those cautions at the end kind of mixed them up a little bit. Thanks to the sponsor on board this year, QH Design. If you need any marketing material, hats, shirts, vinyls, signs, anything you think of, reach out to QH Design. They take care of it for you. Big thank you to you over at PGR for broadcasting it on for us. I love going back and watching these. It's super high quality. Always makes it interesting to watch. And then thanks to my fiance for letting me do this, and my dad watching at home.
And as always, David, thank you for talking to us. Again, congrats on that third place finish. We'll see you next week at Bristol.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Austin.
All right. Well, that is going to wrap up our coverage here tonight of the Winning Bid 200 for the Asphalt Outlaws Racing at Pocono. Man, overall, pretty good race here tonight until we got to the overtimes, and then it was just pure chaos. But overall, Eric Hegdahl survives through it all and takes home his first win of the season here tonight for White Knuckle Racing. As always, thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed. We'll be back next week at Bristol, assuming nothing interferes in between then, but I'm looking forward to it. That should be a fun one. A short track and the fastest short track of the series. All right. Again, one more thank you to everybody for tuning in. That's it for me, Austin Green, here on PGR eSports. And until next time, have a good night.